Good evening from Swansea wrestling fans. I'm your host, Ben Allison, and you are listening to Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast, your one-stop shop for professional wrestling insight, news, and reviews on a daily basis. Wow, oh wow, I finally had a chance to catch my breath after what was a tremendous weekend of professional wrestling. And then last night, we had a banging episode of Monday Night Raw as well. And that is what we were going to be talking about on the show today. But firstly, let me introduce the co-host of the show, the man who's back from being in Chicago for All Out, Clark Taylor. Clark, how are things? And how did you find AEW All Out?
Oh, I am stoked to be back, but boy, what a birthday weekend it was in my hometown of Chicago at All Out. Me and my good friend, my college roommate, Nick Opid, had the time of our lives. The show was off the charts. The show over-delivered in my eyes without question. I got to help Darby up temporarily for a second. My hand was heavily featured on camera. I am looking into maybe a future as a hand model. I don't know what you guys think, even though I got this Band-Aid now on the finger, but we'll see. That was one of the best shots of my hand, maybe in my whole life. I would go as far as to say, but overall, man, what an awesome show. What an awesome weekend. And I'm stoked to be back talking wrestling with you guys once again.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to have you back as well, Clark. I'm really glad you enjoyed yourself in Chicago because it was a fantastic show. And we have a comment, and it's from Numero One Superfly, who's saying, happy late birthday, Clark.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, man. Yeah, it was a blast. It was a blast.
And also joining us on the show today, we have Chaos. How are things, Chaos?
What's good, people? Yes, it is happy Tuesday. You know what that means. We're going to be reviewing Raw. I'm good. I'm happy that Clark is good. Enjoyed an awesome episode of awesome pay-per-view of All That. I am envious because you was in 4K pretty much on Sunday night. But I'm happy for you and glad you had a great birthday. But yeah, let's get straight to it, shall we?
Absolutely. And yeah, if you guys haven't seen Clark at all it's very, very simple. Just go, like Clark said, the fact, he was involved in the Darby Allin match, technically, when just before, or was it just after or just before Darby Allin was swung into the steel stairs? He then crawled over to where Clark was. You can see the Wrestling Republic logo. And then, like Clark said, his hand helping up Darby Allin. That is certainly one for the history books, Clark. But
it was a blast.
He hasn't washed his hand yet. I'm pretty sure
I pulled too hard at first, and he said, "Slow down, man." It was great. It was iconic.
That's brilliant. Oh gosh, yeah.
I have that Bart Simpson hand where he hasn't washed it, and it's like 5 days later, it's just covered in all kinds of nastiness. So,
exactly.
Yeah. When you said I actually haven't, I thought that's where you were going. I thought you said no. Actually, I haven't washed my hand yet. No. Hopefully, I'd hope so. It's been a couple of days now, but anyway,
multiple times.
Talking about things which have been a couple of days ago at WWE Payback, Cody Rhodes announced on the Grayson Waller effect that he had managed to get Jey Uso traded to Monday Night Raw after Jey quit SmackDown just a few weeks ago. Jey opened this week's edition of Monday Night Raw and said that he wanted to move to Raw because he was tired of fighting with his family over on Friday Night SmackDown. Of course, the bloodline is in tatters. We all know that. But then Sami Zayn, an ex-rival and an ex-friend of Jey Uso's, interrupted and told Jey that he wanted to be the first person on Raw to welcome him. The two ended up hugging it out. Everybody cheered. Everybody loved it. Fantastic moment to open up Monday Night Raw. McRiddle otherwise known as Drew McIntyre, and Matt Riddle then came out and walked past Jey, both staring him down. Clearly, a lot of people aren't happy with Jey Uso's actions over the last couple of years while he's been aligned with the Bloodline. Then later on in the night, Dominic Mysterio, Clark's favorite wrestler, came up to Jey Uso and said, we'd love to have you in the Judgment Day. I know what it's like to, not be happy in your family and all of that. And Jey Uso didn't say no, but he also didn't say yes. Adam Pearce then told Jey that things are going to get worse for him on Raw, as a Raw star is going to be traded to SmackDown. But that's a conversation we'll have later in this week. Right now, I want to talk about Jey Uso and Jey Uso on Monday Night Raw. Clark, give me your thoughts. Are you happy he is now on the red brand in a singles role?
To be totally honest, this is the oosiest thing I've seen in months. I love the reunion between him and Sami Zayn. It was delightful. I like the idea that not everybody's on the same page there as far as McRiddle and whatnot. But I'm happy to have Jey Uso back, of course. I think he's super talented, and I don't mind the singles run at least. I just wonder what it means for Jimmy and how we get to Jimmy J. That's my main question. Because as long as we have Jey over on Raw and Jimmy not there, I don't know how often they rub shoulders. And I think that's the only logical direction for Jey having a singles run is to wrestle his brother in this situation.
Yeah. I mean, they did very recently say that they wanted to do that match at WrestleMania. Jey Uso said that was his dream, to wrestle his brother at WrestleMania if it was to happen in a singles capacity. He said that before the turn happened, but it was only a couple of months ago. So perhaps the plan is to try and just wait it out until WrestleMania. And by having them on two separate brands, I mean, it's kind of, the Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns thing where they've separated them on brands then do it presumably at this year's WrestleMania as well. Perhaps he's the one going to SmackDown, but again, we'll talk about that later in the week on a show for sure. But what about you, Chaos? What do you think about Jey Uso on Raw now? Do you think it's the right move for him?
Yeah, it's the right move for him. I mean, it was either going to be two ways for it to actually end up being Jimmy versus Jey. It's either he waits by the sidelines until, the WrestleMania season, if you will, from January onwards, or put him over here. And it was the best move to keep him active, keep the momentum going. Because
I think we got some technical difficulties. Sure.
Oh my days.
I can hear him. He's doing
you
well
can hear him. Oh, never mind. It's me.
No,
Carry on, Chaos. Carry on.
Moving.
Okay. I was about to lose my head there. Yeah. Can you hear me now?
I can. Yes, it was all me. It's all me. Technical.
Good.
All right. Cool. So yeah. I feel like it can definitely it will keep them. It's hard as hell right now. The momentum, keep the momentum going. And then have him have all these rivalries. It looks like they're already setting up stuff with him and McIntyre. Possibly McIntyre is definitely teasing a heel turn. Him and Riddle. There's a whole heap of people you can have feuds in the meantime, and then somehow they could do a thing where Jimmy could be he's on the one. Sorry, Jey is the one that's on a good streak at Raw. Jimmy is the one that's not doing so well, and so far he isn't doing so well on SmackDown. He could become jealous of him and then obviously try and interfere. Maybe, when Jey enters the Rumble, Jimmy's the one that eliminates him. There's something like that for it to lead into their match into Mania. Obviously, being on two separate shows, we all know that doesn't really matter. That doesn't really mean much these days. Somehow, same as how I think that Ray and Dom is going to have probably another rematch at Mania. The same, I feel like they're gonna somehow end up facing each other by the end for it to be at Mania. So yeah, it's a good move. It's a good way to keep him active, keep the momentum going as long as they put him in good storylines. And then eventually, yeah, when it comes to WrestleMania season, they will clash 110%.
I really, really hope you're right because, it's something which we never thought we'd see, is it? The Uso versus Uso. A lot of times we say it about tag teams that they shouldn't split up. And the Usos for years, let's be honest about it, is a tag team, which all of us have been saying, let's not split them up. Let's keep them together forever. They work so well together. Why change that? If something's, not broken, why try and fix it? However, it now makes sense. It now makes a lot of sense, and I am down for it. I also hope one day we can go a full 45 minutes without one of us having a technical difficulty. But I digress, if it's not one of us, it's the other. But anyway, let's now move on and let's talk about a match which I loved. on Saturday night at Payback, and that was Seth Rollins and Shinsuke Nakamura, because following the Jey Uso segment, a pre-recorded Shinsuke Nakamura promo package aired with subtitles once again, where he said he had underestimated Seth Rollins, but he did break him. He just didn't get the title. He said that he was not done in his hunt for the title, and he was still determined to become the next World Heavyweight Champion. Seth Rollins then showed up and came to the ring, but Adam Pearce, on his way to the ring, told him to go home. But he refused. He said, no, I'm the champion. I'm going to be a working champion, and I'm going out there right now. Well, Rollins came down to the ring, and this is where I started to have a problem. The entire match on Saturday, Shinsuke Nakamura was beating up the back of Seth Rollins. He could barely walk by the end of it. After the match, Shinsuke Nakamura took out Seth Rollins and made the injury worse. So how was Seth Rollins walking to the ring completely fine? I mean, I don't know if, anybody who's had a back injury before knows that you can't just, go skipping down the entranceway immediately following that. It made absolutely no sense at all. That really annoyed me, how Seth Rollins just wasn't selling those injuries whatsoever. Rollins then said that he wanted to challenge Nakamura to a match right now. Nakamura came down and said, nope, I don't accept your challenge. But they did brawl. They continue to brawl. Seth, once again, was just not selling his injuries. They got separated in the end, and then Shinsuke Nakamura took on Ricochet, got himself DQ'd, and then the two brawled once again at the end of it. I did not like this, and I've been a huge fan of this feud. But Seth Rollins not selling those injuries he suffered in that match makes no sense to me whatsoever. It was a big angle, and now you're just ignoring the fact that, your back's pretty much broken. It frustrated me. It certainly did. But what about you, Clark? How do you feel about this segment? Am I overthinking it?
No, I agree 100%. We've set up the back injury thing, and twofold. Why would Nakamura not want the rematch? I don't get it. He's hurt the back. The back's not even being sold here. They're just brawling. He doesn't want the rematch, but he does want to brawl. I don't get it. The whole thing felt convoluted. It was just backwards as a whole, right? Why would you not want a rematch with a guy who's injured? That's the angle of this entire story we told on the way here. It's so blatantly obvious. Of course, you would want the injured guy in a rematch. That's an easy win, especially for a conniving type heel, a calculated heel like Shinsuke Nakamura, who's going to bring stiff strikes and all of that to the table. To have a wounded duck, essentially, on your plate, why is he saying no? Why would you ever say no if it's Shin?
He's afraid. Like he injured him during that match. Sorry to cut you off, Clark, but I think he injured him during the match, and he still couldn't get the job done. So I think he's just second guessing himself. He was right for the picking, and he still couldn't get the job. What is 24 hours going to make a difference? If I can't beat you whilst he hurt him back. It's weird. It was weird as well because I saw Seth in backstage when Ricochet and what's his name?
Adam Pearce.
Yeah, they were talking. If you see in the background, you see Seth was limping. He had that Cody Rhodes type of thing. It was weird. And then afterwards, you're right. He just no-sold it afterwards. Maybe it's just saving face. I don't know. But he was definitely reacting to the pain.
Maybe he hulked up in Gorilla?
Yeah. Maybe so. Yeah.
I mean, we got a comment from Numero One Superfly saying, do you think Shinsuke, won Seth to expect the unexpected, and that's why he didn't challenge? Yeah, I honestly do think that perhaps he wants to, he wants to do it on his own terms, I mean, Michael Cole did reference it, I believe, on commentary, the art of war, doing it on your own terms. But he was injured. But my favorite thing about this was...
Doesn't that give him time to heal? That just, it's illogical.
No, exactly. But my favorite thing about it was Seth was then beat up some more. And then Rhea Ripley was like, no. To Damian Priest was like, no, now is not the time to cash in. But anyway, we'll talk more about that later. Carter Crisp in the comments is saying, happy birthday, Clark. Shout out Carter, and happy belated birthday to you, Clark. And then we have a comment as well from David Sheldon saying, Chaos, I think you're writing a story for WWE there. The whole segment was a mess.
Yeah,
I agree. I didn't hit too much on this Raw. I didn't, but this segment was it was not for me in a feud, which has certainly been for me. Oh, well, but let's come back next week and let's hope they improve it. Let's hope it's not the new Trish and Becky where I have to complain about it each week, because I thought,
And then
I
wait
thought it
until
was
the next
done.
PLE to be like, this is the greatest thing ever. Yeah, that's how they usually do it.
Yeah, I mean, the comments were not too nice. So I can't remember whose reel it was now, but somebody did a reel saying, "Oh, the match is way better than I thought it should be," and quite a few comments were like, "Well, that's wrong. You shouldn't hate on it. Whatever. You should wait until the feud finishes." Like, we wouldn't have a podcast if that was the case. Well, we're just not meant to talk about the weekly shows.
Yeah.
That was stupid
Pickle.
comment.
Yeah. We'll all wait till the end and say one thing each. That'll be the new podcast.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna do until the bloodline when the bloodline thing finishes. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
We won't have spoken about Roman Reigns for the last 3 years on the podcast because the storyline's ongoing.
We're gonna have to have a moment of silence on the Reigns storyline for like 8 more months.
8 more years, it could be, to be honest.
More moments of silence.
Now let's move on. I just mentioned the Judgment Day. I'm bringing them up again because the Judgment Day came out, but they came out united. Yay! We finally, finished the story of them. Can they coexist each week and starting on the same page and not being on the same page and being on the same page again, then losing in the main event. That's finally over. They're all on the same page again, following Finn Balor and Damian Priest winning the WWE Tag Team Championships. Rhea Ripley revealed her frustration over the attention being given to Jey Uso coming to Monday Night Raw. I do have a feeling that Jey Uso is going to start off by feuding with the Judgment Day. I'm all good with that because let's be real about it. They do need more people to feud with because I'm sick of seeing them in there with Sami Zayn. Although,
yeah,
if Jey Uso's involved, I have a feeling Sami Zayn will be too. But then, and this is where it gets interesting, JD McDonough came out and told Damian Priest once again that he did not need that Money in the Bank briefcase. Damian Priest starts going, "Oh, are you really still on this? I thought we were past this. I thought we were on the same page now." And JD McDonough goes, "No, because you need this one instead," and gifts him his own personalized briefcase, which tells us that Damian Priest isn't going to be cashing in for a while, but it looks cool, and I do like it. Priest took the briefcase. Everything was all happy before Sami Zayn interrupted, and JD McDonough Sami Zayn then challenged Dominic Mysterio to a match. JD McDonough butted in and said, "No, I challenge you to a match. The Judgment Day deserve a day off." Dominic did get involved in the match and helped JD get the win over Sami Zayn. Very fun match. Although post-match, Sami Zayn went to take out Dominic. JD made the save, but Dominic did not repay the favor, and JD got taken out by Sami Zayn. A lot going on here, but this feels fresh. And listen, I'm a fan of the Judgment Day, but I just felt like recently the story's been a bit stale. This freshened things up. I have no issue about it. Chaos, give me your thoughts on it.
Where do I begin? Yeah, it was a Judgment Day show pretty much up until the main event, but yeah, no, I'm still digging it. I'm happy that they are reunited because we all know this is just a temporary thing. This is all, to me, this is all part of JD McDonough's plan. Like this is what he's aiming for. He wants to obviously not weasel his way in. He's trying to earn his way back into the fold. And then this is obviously going to lead to obviously pushing Balor out. This tag team run thing, it may be temporary, or they might just switch out Finn for JD. Finn comes out, then it might just feud between them two, Finn and JD, and then take it from there. Hopefully, Finn can get some wins once they do start feuding. But yeah, all in all, I loved it. I do like the briefcase. At first, I thought, for me, I thought the ending was near when I couldn't get my hands on the Money in the Bank briefcase in London, but I do like this one. So I'm looking to, if it's available in the UK, I'll look into and get that one as well. The Senior Mr. Money in the Bank. So, but yeah, I'm liking it. The segment didn't hit as good as when the honorary Oos T-shirt thing happened, though. I just want to say that, brought it out there. It wasn't as good, but I still enjoyed it. But yeah, so far I agree. It freshened things up. And yeah, I'm just very curious to see where they're gonna take it from here. And you know, obviously everything is kind of weighing that. It's all on depending on Damian Priest. He's the one that's he's basically Jey in the bloodline. He doesn't trust him, and it's the way to obviously earn his keep. Yeah, it's cool. It's nice. It's not really a retread. It's a nice little freshen thing. So yeah, all it comes basically what I'm saying. I'm loving it as well. I feel like I was waffling on.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Oh, I do have to agree. It's fun, and we're gonna have to see where things go. We got Soul in the comments as well saying, "Are you gonna buy that briefcase, Chaos? Are you?"
Yeah, I'm definitely. It's definitely on my my wish list. It's not available in the UK yet because if I get it in the States, it's gonna be some crazy ass shipping costs.
The real question is, what are you gonna keep inside of the briefcase?
Ooh.
I'm gonna do an Otis and keep my lunch in there.
I like that. I'm
gonna bring it to work. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna bring it to work every day.
That is exactly. Unclip it. Pull the lunch out at the desk.
That would be legendary.
I actually will. I will do it one day, and I'll send you a photo. Trust me, I'll do it.
It has to be a day the way like you have to like it's a really important like day. You're wearing a suit. And then it's all like meant to have an actual briefcase and putting the money in the bank.
And I just literally like put something heavy in it, just boom, right on the table, just like don't mind me. I've got my Mega XL BLT right here. Yeah, it's all good.
That is fantastic. But now let's move on to something which I didn't really think was fantastic. And that was Zoe Stark versus Shayna Baszler. And the reason why I didn't think this was fantastic is that these were two women having a match with no story where both of them are currently getting pushes, so neither of them should lose. But Zoe Stark did lose to Shayna Baszler. At least Shay, they're still rebuilding Shayna up, but I wish there was a proper storyline for her at this point. If they were going to do this, I mean, I was presuming Trish was going to come in and cost Zoe the match. She didn't. I don't understand the point in this match whatsoever. I really, really, really don't. But, I mean, Clark, do you have any idea why they did it?
Why would you do that to Zoe Stark? I mean, she got like choked out on TV in a short match. It doesn't make sense. She was as over as she's been since she's been on the main roster, coming off of the heels of Payback. What are we doing? Like, they both should have had matches where they squashed other members of the roster. Like, it's not that hard. I don't get anything about this. And it's funny because you give me, I was not this negative about last night's Raw. I actually really enjoyed the entire episode as a whole, but the two segments that I've been talking about just were like baffling. And on top of that, like you said, both Stark and Baszler are being pushed, but there was no story here. There's no story whatsoever. It just doesn't add up to me. I don't get it at all.
Yeah, I do have to agree with you now. Chaos has just logged into the comments himself to say tag team on Witsec. No, it's your personal assistant again, Chaos, is it?
Yeah, assistant, paying overtime. I do feel like it's gonna be a tag team because obviously they had a little exchange at the end. He was just like, you give me a better fight than Ronda, you're a better fighter than Trish. They're gonna be best buddies. They're gonna go for the tag team titles.
I don't mind that at all. Actually, that is a very good call, Chaos. If that is the direction, then I have significantly less of an issue with this segment than I did coming out of it. But that is just, it didn't really click in my mind because I think I was so disappointed by the match itself.
100%. Yeah,
I agree. I can agree there. We've got number one Superfly saying, hopefully Zoe and Shayna form a Can They Coexist tag team.
Yes.
Well, we're going to have to get the weeks without saying Can They Coexist graphic on. And, we're back down to 0 there. But, I mean, we got David Sheldon here as well saying, I will, in defense of the no story argument, say that Payback was only 2 days ago. Give them, it was 3 days.
I think more what I was saying was like you had remnants of the story that was told with Zoe, Trish, and Becky. You could have linked it more to benefit Zoe's steam that she gained during that storyline, I guess, right? Not necessarily that you would have to have a half-told story right now to dive right into, but this just felt like out of left field booking, like a match just to have a match.
Yeah.
In a way.
No, I will agree with you on that, but let's move on now. Let's not continue complaining. Let's move on to something a bit more positive, right? Because, listen, John Cena is usually advertised for every single appearance which he does, right? And that's something which a lot of fans have complained about. They said we want more surprise Cena. Well, Cena did show up as a surprise earlier this year at Money in the Bank in London. Me and Chaos were both there. It was fantastic. But once in a year wasn't good enough for John Cena. He surprised us twice because John Cena made a surprise appearance on Monday Night Raw and blessed us with his presence on Miz TV. This was absolutely fantastic. And then just to make things better, Miz punched him and hit a skull-crushing finale on him. Cena looked like an absolute fool in the ring with The Miz. The Miz proved why he's the best WWE wrestler to ever exist last night. Fantastic stuff. No, of course not. In reality, this was just such a funny segment. John Cena was, he came out, we couldn't see him. They did that angle. It was absolutely hilarious. The cameraman did like his normal entrance, but they were just following absolutely nothing. The Miz did the entire segment with just, an invisible John Cena. It was absolutely brilliant to me. I thoroughly enjoyed it. But Chaos, what did you say? What did you think about John Cena, an invisible John Cena, appearing on Miz TV?
Like if you watch Family Guy, when Buzz Killington shows up and he says something and he's just like Peter's just like that's what I was going on with this segment. I give it to the cameraman. He really dedicated himself for this. Like when it was the entrance, he did the thing where he ran up to the crowd and then the full running down the aisle into the ring, did the full spiel. I thought it was very Vince like. It was such a Vince type segment, and I'm so over that era right now. I'm sorry, I can't take it anymore. I think that's why I just couldn't find the whatever everyone liked about it. I couldn't see it because I don't see how this did anything. He did
he said it. He couldn't see it. He said it.
What? Don't try it. But you know what I mean. Just like just with like a bit. I give it to Miz. He was proper dedicated into it. He did like an invisible move cross. Was it
crossing finale?
That's it. Yeah, and all that stuff. And he, looks like he's still not over LA Knight. I just want this now. I want to see LA Knight somewhere else. I'm really annoyed that they're actually carrying this on, but this just didn't connect with me. I just thought it was just really cringe, and it just felt like we were going backwards in terms of this new-ish era. I know obviously Vince is still there, but he's not hands-on as he used to be. That this was very up there with the old day, and the This Is Your Life thing with Bailey and Alexa Bliss. This was up there for me. I just want this thing to be over and done with too, unfortunately.
You are a killjoy, Chaos.
I'm sorry.
You just don't like fun.
No,
Sun is not real, and that was cringe. I'm sorry.
Ben, he couldn't see it. Oh, I said it.
Shut up, Clark.
See it. You made the Family Guy reference first.
I do have a theory about this, right? And my theory is because I've seen a lot of complaints and a lot of praise for this segment. And a lot of the praise I've seen is from Americans. And a lot of the criticism are from people in the UK. And I'm kind of thinking to myself, is it an American humor versus British humor type of scenario, this?
No.
I don't know if I'm overthinking that, but
I think that's a little overthought. I think
all I know is this. Don't do drugs, people. That's what you do. That's what happens.
Personally, I couldn't see that.
He was tripping balls. That's why you should never do drugs.
Can't see it.
So they're gonna start showing kids now in schools. Don't do drugs, kids, or you'll become like the Miz. But
he's wrestling invisible people.
No, we have to make that graphic now. We have to do it.
I was waiting for R-Truth to come up with little Jimmy as well.
No, I want R-Truth to have the invisible championship. That's what we need.
I'm done. Cash me out. I'm done.
The Invisible Championship. I can't believe Truth didn't come in to save though his childhood hero like
He's
that.
injured.
I
That's a
mean,
good point.
Truth grew up a diehard Cena fan. We all know that.
But he's injured. He's been injured for about 10 years. Well, not 10
He
years.
bust his knee like what?
Yeah. Went down to NXT and couldn't hack it. But in all seriousness, I'm looking forward to him returning because he is so entertaining.
He is.
He's
Man,
somebody
his
who can
childhood hero. You'd think if anyone would step up in that spot, it'd be Truth.
Exactly.
This guy grew up a diehard C Nation member.
Our Truth is somebody, right, similar to what I was saying about QTV on the show the other day, where you can kind of just plug and play him like in a lot of different roles, but between like segments, right? So you have two very serious segments, two great matches. We'll just chuck an R-Truth segment in between, and it'll give everybody a second to, catch their breath back and just have some fun. So I think he's
definitely R-Truth. QT Marshall. I'm sorry, I can't agree with that. That guy, I just want.
I like the TMZ ripoff. I do. Whether or not Hobbs should be involved is another thing, I know, but I really do like it. I think it's entertaining TV, to be honest with you.
Fair enough.
Maybe it's an American versus British thing again. I don't know. It's not.
I'll tell you what, Hobbs and Joe, those two can slap.
Horse. Hey, also, quick, Clark. What were they chanting when Miro was striking him? I couldn't understand it. What were they saying?
Chanting slap that meat.
Really?
Slap that meat.
Yeah.
Slap that meat.
That is hilarious.
It was a very Chicago chant. I was like, of all of the chants to ask me about, I'm like, I knew that one because it was funny.
I had to say that on the podcast yesterday, and it was it's a very difficult thing to say seriously. But let's move.
The funniest was actually the follow-up chant was when they did hit each other was they slapped meat. Which was even
and then there was just a meat chant as well.
Yeah, that's what I was on about. That was mainly,
yeah, that was just meat.
Fair enough.
And I think they're gonna make it to a T-shirt as well. So that's gonna be
a T-shirt, 100%.
But now let's move on and let's continue talking about slapping meat because in the main event.
Speaking of meat being slapped,
sorry, you got me there. God dang it.
Oh gosh, but talking about great matches, right? In the main event of Raw, Gunther defended his Intercontinental Championship against Chad Gable in a rematch. Of course, a few weeks ago, Gable got the win over Gunther by count out. Obviously, the title can't change hands via count out, so they had to run it back. However, this match had a lot higher stakes than just being for the Intercontinental Championship, because if Gunther won, he would go on to become the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion. I think it's in 2 days' time he will get that role, and he will get it because he did defeat Chad Gable in the main event of Monday Night Raw. This match was fantastic. It's everything you could possibly want it to be. I personally would have maybe preferred it if it got another 5 minutes, but for what it was near perfect. A banger of a bout on TV. It really, really was. But my favorite thing about it, right, was Chad Gable had his family dressed up in the same attire as him at ringside. It was brilliant. But then when he lost, his daughter started bawling her eyes out, right? And I really, really think, or at least I hope, that was scripted. And for her to put on such a good performance like that, I don't know, she looked about 10 years old, I imagine. That was brilliant. For Gable to, fly them over there, he must have told them that he was going to lose. He wouldn't want to upset his kids like that. So I really do believe she was part of it, because they got them all dressed up and everything. It was clearly part of the plan. And it just made everything 10 times better. Just her crying as Gunther's lifting up the title and Gable's on the ground. This was brilliant. Chad Gable, I mean, obviously he's gotten a push right now. He's had a push, but he deserves another push. He deserves maybe build him up to being in the Elimination Chamber match later in the year. because the work that he's done in this feud is just absolutely phenomenal. And he really helped to, put over Gunther as he goes on to become the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion. But Chaos, give me your thoughts on this one. And did you enjoy the kids crying, or do you think I'm just a bit cold-hearted?
Oh, hey, man, if this was taken to the table right now, I'll be having the Big E, big man slapping meat meme on cue right now, just continuously. It was an awesome match. Well deserved. I kind of wish this was on Payback. I understand the reasons why they didn't do it, because they didn't want to overstay their welcome on the PLEs and whatnot. But yeah, this would have been fine. This would have fine co-main, in my opinion. But yeah, no, it was a great output. Gable, he's always been great. He's always been great. Like it's a shame that it's only now that people are starting to realize that he's much more than just Shorty G. You know what I mean? So even though he hasn't been that for a while, but considering where he was and where he is now, it's a true testament to him, and he's just awesome. Me personally, I don't think that girl was scripted. That girl was like, that was the same as when Sasha Banks attacked that girl, that the Bayley super fan. That wasn't scripted. That was that she was bawling her eyes out. This one, because one of the girls, she wasn't even paying attention. She was busy doing her own thing. She was the one that was crying, like she really thinks her dad is a hero. Like, and me being a father myself, I really felt so bad for her. I was just like, yeah, that's genuine. So yeah, it was cool to actually pan the camera onto her right at the right time. But yeah, it was a great little great match. The ending as well made you really believe that he could have possibly done it, because even I was kind of crapping it, because they were really promoting this match. Like they said it's going to be the main event, his family's there, all this stuff. So I was right, like, if Gunther did lose, that'd be such a Vince McMahon booking. You know what I mean? I could imagine him doing something like that as a cruel twist of fate, preventing him from beating, of all people, Honky Tonk Man's reign. Like, but luckily the whole company as a whole are in the era of making records and breaking records right now. They've done it with Bianca, they're doing it with Roman Reigns, now obviously Gunther now. So I'm happy that he's still reigning supreme. Me personally, he's that, like, when he loses it, I think the next milestone for him will be to win the Rumble. He's currently my favorite to win the Rumble, Gunther. And then obviously see what happens with Chad Gable. Hopefully he keeps on going, elevating himself from here on in. But I can't say anything bad about this match. It was a great show out. Made you really be on the edge of your seat, and it truly delivered. So great job on both guys. But I really feel bad for his daughter, man. That was cruel for them, what it did.
Here's the thing, right? I've got the photo right here. She's dressed up in his attire. Front row. The camera went right to her. I do not believe she's not like 4 years old either. She looks like 10.
Yeah.
I do not for a second believe that this was not scripted.
No, she was crying genuine. She was crying genuine tears, though. She was like, trust me. She was genuine. You could tell that she really like believed, and I think probably off camera she was the one that was really rooting for her. So maybe that's when they just said, like, keep an eye on her, like when the ending happens, and then that's what happened. Same as how when the Miz girl, everyone knows, like, that was perfect timing. As soon as Miz won, the camera went straight to her. They knew, like, so they scanned it and then they saw her. So, like, I think it was just perfect timing. They kept her at bay, make sure that they, get your reaction afterwards. Because I think she's the one that's gonna be really, gonna deliver that emotion. Because like I said, the other girl did not care.
I don't believe that you would take your daughter to a wrestling event and put her in the front row.
Mick Foley did it.
Mick Foley did it at the show I was at in '99. That's one of the most terrifying. That whole documentary is terrifying.
Yeah, she was crying her eyes out. Yeah,
Noel couldn't handle it. Both his sons couldn't. It was like at '99 Rumble during the I Quit.
Yep.
I mean, they left ringside, like, and you could visibly see his wife Colette and the kids leave ringside during the match after like the 7th of 11 chair shots unprotected.
Yeah. So it is possible.
And they're all bawling, like, terrified, like absolutely like, I mean, my half of my family left.
I That's trauma right there. I honestly do just. I don't. I really. I mean, it's cold. It's cold-hearted. It really is. If that's
Welcome
not the
to the
case,
wrestling business,
I would
champ.
also say the other thing is, from an acting perspective, it's so hard to have a kid be that disciplined to fake cry like
Yeah.
that. That I believe I still found the segment beautiful, and she'll look back upon it fondly because it's such an iconic image, almost for sure, right? This isn't like a traumatizing thing. Loving your father is not a bad thing, right?
yeah.
No one's hating on her. It's a
No,
beautiful
absolutely
moment
not.
emotionally in wrestling, and it's something that, you know, for the rest of their lives they can cherish. Will probably laugh about as she gets older. Like,
Oh yeah.
oh, can you believe how iconic this was? And it played perfectly on TV. It was a beautiful moment, a beautiful end of the match, a beautiful end of the rivalry, right? And Gable's been putting on underrated singles bangers, even during his tag run with Otis for 2 years on Raw. Especially when I was reviewing Raw last year, I always would give a special shout out to Gable. If you give this dude 10 minutes, he can make something of it. Doesn't matter who it is with, doesn't matter when. He's as underrated as anyone. And it was an awesome spot. And then to have his family featured in that way, I think was beneficial, not just to him, but for his future here. And I think it also looked so great seeing Gunther standing tall, holding the belt, like the absolute vicious conqueror ruler that he's been with that title the whole way, and the sad Gable's daughter, right? And that's, you know, if it was acting, she better get her own Disney Channel show next week.
I'm making a bold prediction right now. Chad Gable's daughter is going to win an Oscar in 2040. I'm calling it right now. I genuinely am. I cannot explain how confident I am that this was.
I hope they were actually doing a documentary for Chad, like a WWE 24 thing, and then hopefully this will put it to rest whether she was genuine or not. And then obviously when the match has ended, you can see how she was in the backstage afterwards. But I genuinely think, like I said, me being a father and knowing when emotions genuine with kids, like I feel like she really looks up to her dad to the point where she believes everything. And then like obviously she's like that, even though it's 10 years old, you still would think wrestling is still kind of, it will still be real. So yeah, man, she looks up to her dad, man. So yeah, don't worry. Yeah, that was genuine.
No,
it was good.
I didn't think it was
still
good.
It was genuine.
I didn't think wrestling was real when I was 7. I think I realized.
I feel sorry for you, bro. Damn.
I mean, even I think Dominic, when he was doing the Eddie stuff with Ray, I think he thought.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he didn't even know what he was doing.
Real.
He knew.
He knew some, but I don't think he knew all of it.
Because Eddie and Ray used to explain it to him, and then while he was playing GTA on his PSP, which is.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Well, then
I'm beginning to understand why he turned heel on his dad.
Right? Didn't he used to give him? Didn't Eddie used to give him candy between takes when they were doing videos? I believe that was the story.
Yes, you're right.
Eddie used to keep like I think it was Starburst in his pocket, and he'd always like if Dom would do good, he'd give him a Starburst. That was like one of the most endearing moments of the doc. I think that you might have seen it too on the network. It was cool. It was like, oh man, that's a cool like little.
But even if she does know that wrestling isn't real or whatever, she still would want her dad to win.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw, I do get that. I mean, we got a comment from Numero 1 Superfly saying, imagine Chad's daughter wins the Oscar. Gunther comes out and makes a crying face to mock her crying.
And then slap the hand. What?
No, we need Gunther's daughter versus Gable's daughter down the road.
Oh my god, that'd be hilarious.
I'm
really happy for you, but I'm gonna let you finish. But
yeah. Oh,
Kanye West her. That's it. Yeah, beautiful.
At the Academy Awards.
Oh, that would be brilliant. No, I'm really rooting for her. I mean, I think. I mean, is betting open for the 2040 Oscars?
I don't think so yet. Not yet.
I might have to enter it. But,
They still have to. They still have to get over.
That is the definition of a futures bet, if I've ever heard one.
I might need to contact a betting site and say, hey,
Next
can
year
I
might be already
place
cancelled
a
after
bet
my-
on somebody who's not an actor to win
What's the line on Chad Gable's daughter to win an Oscar?
in 20? Anyway, guys, thank you.
Keep my daughter's name out your mouth. No, sorry.
Oh
Sorry.
my.
Anyway, guys, on that note, it's the end of the show. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit a like and subscribe. If you're on Twitch, a follow. And if you're on Spotify, a cheeky 5 stars goes a long, long way. We'll be back the same time tomorrow to preview AEW Dynamite. Thank you to Chaos. Thank you to Clark for joining me here today. It's been a fun one. It really has. And thank you to each and every single one of you who watched us here today. But let's hope tonight's episode of NXT is a good one. And make sure to check out NXT Off the Air immediately following NXT tonight on the Wrestling Republic YouTube channel, 15 minutes after NXT. Thank you guys so much. We will see you tomorrow.
She's going to win a Slammy.
Damn it. This is better than Prime.